guys? Welcome back to my channel. This episode 4. We almost done the modular 1. This video we will done modular 1. We will have 4 modular and then we will end this program. Okay, let's get started.
You're making awesome progress. You've learned all about the UX design industry and explored where you might work. Now, let's talk about common career paths for UX designers and the kinds of jobs you'll be qualified for after you complete this program. An internship is a great way to start your career. An internship is usually a short-term job with limited responsibility. You often work closely with a supervisor to learn more about a job or industry that you are interning in. It's a fantastic way to get real job experience. Plus, an internship might lead to a full-time job in the future. Another way to start your career is an apprenticeship. Apprenticeships provide on-the-job training to help you develop real skills. Apprenticeships are similar to internships because you work closely with an experienced professional. However, apprenticeships generally last longer than internships, around 1 or 2 years instead of a few months, and apprenticeships are always paid. You could also explore freelancing, which we discussed earlier. You may recall, freelancers work for themselves and market their services to businesses to find customers. Working as a freelancer can help you gain experience on real UX design projects. A good way to get started as a freelancer is to offer your services to a small business or a nonprofit in exchange for a good recommendation and a project to include in your portfolio. Once you have a couple of projects under your belt and some references, you can begin charging customers. If you're excited to explore freelancing, we'll discuss it more in detail at the end of this program. The most common way to start your career in UX design is an entry-level job. Entry-level jobs are roles that do not require prior experience in the field. The skills and portfolio pieces you'll develop in this program will help you get started as an entry-level UX designer. Plenty of companies might be interested in hiring someone who's completed this program and produced a portfolio of outstanding work, someone like you. A job that says it requires a year of experience might instead accept your certificate and portfolio as proof that you have the skills for the job. It clearly communicates your value, so don't limit yourself.
Okay, so let's go to the next video. Wait a minute, it's gonna be.
Hi, my name is Juan. I'm a visual designer.
Wait a minute, it's some bug. Okay, let's go.
Hi, my name is Juan. I'm a visual designer at Google. And I'm from Dominican Republic, especially from a small town in DR where I don't have access to internet. My passion for computer and internet was very, very high that every day after school, when I get home, I take my CPU and put it in my head and walk more or less 1 mile to connect to this small lab because this was the only location in my town where I can get access to internet. And the first thing that I do when I went to the lab was open googlesearch.com and just find tutorial about how use Photoshop, how use the software that people in that time used for design. And I remember that was very fun to me. I'm an immigrant. I remember I moved to United States like 10 years ago, and I can find job in design because first, struggle, I can speak English. Even now, probably you need to use subtitle to understand me well because even now I can speak English very well, but I try. As an immigrants, when we came from our country to United States, the first idea that we have in mind is just apply in fast food. I remember back 10 years ago, when I moved to Connecticut, I went to multiple fast food places and I never get a job. And my first job experience in the United States was cleaning toilet in a hotel. I really love that job. I never imagined that years later I'm gonna start my first career in design. How I get from working from a hotel, doing housekeeping work, into Google is interesting. It's a crazy and interesting journeys. I apply in others design in studio And I learned a lot doing draft or rough design for digital agencies. And after a couple years working on the industry, I just studied by myself using Google search to find how you Photoshop, how you internet, how you freehand, and all the design software. And after that, I remember that a friend suggested me like, hey, I think you should work for Google. You have the potential to work for Google. But at that time, I don't believe that I can work for Google because I never went to college. All the design thing that I know, I learned by myself. She recommended me. I didn't get the job. I didn't pass the second call from the interview process. Year later, the recruiter contacted me, and because they think that I could be a good fit for the company, I received an email, hello from Google, and that was really interesting because in the beginning, I thought that that was a spam, but I decided to open because I'm curious. And when I read the email where the recruiter say, hey, we believe that now you could be a good fit for the company and we want to have a call with you. Are you still want to work for Google? Of course, I was very nervous. I can't believe that I was reading that email that Google want to have a call with me. I feel very important. And of course, after 10 minutes, after take a deeper breath, I decided to answer the email. And I answered, and the recruiter was very humble. They made me feel important. They was very friendly with me. And this kind of interaction made me feel more confident. Then I moved to the second step of the interview with a visual designer, where that person was asking me questions about how I design, what is my design process. They try to understand how I work. And the next step was go to the office and have an interview in person with 8 people. That was very intimidating to me, again, especially that I don't speak English. But I prepare myself. I have a problem with my language, but I know that I was good in my design. I feel confident with that. And what I did amazing presentation with a lot of interaction because I want to show them all my potential. And then I received the call that they want to hire me. I really like to share this because sometimes we don't believe that we can go far. And me, that I came from a village or a small town in the Caribbean without internet access and now working for Google is something that made me feel proud.
My name is Mike, and I'm a design manager at Google. Growing up, I always had a computer in the house, and mostly we would play games and things like that, but we learned to be comfortable with a PC early on. When I was in high school, I was in a drafting class, and we used computers to draw. I spent a lot of extra time learning from the teacher outside of class hours, playing on the computer. So around that time, I moved from the Northeast. I was just outside of Philadelphia in South Jersey. So I moved to the South in North Carolina. And there was a lot of culture shock for me and also sort of a disconnect of parents. There was a lot of autonomy or sort of freedom in a lot of ways. So I ended up dropping out of high school just for a number of those discomforts and kind of wandered off on a different path for a while. I did a number of different things. I worked at car washes. I worked at restaurants. I did network cabling. I installed network cabling in offices and buildings. Eventually, I bought a computer a few years later and started tinkering again. So I started learning the tools to create a website for my dad's company. So I now had a kind of a client. And I just learned. I just kept learning one thing after the other. I'd build it, design it, publish it. And then I started wanting to make it do more. And I wanted it to have some functionality. So I started learning simple scripting, and it just kind of continued to evolve from there. In the beginning, you're learning things so quickly, and there's just like this excitement that comes with everything that you figure out that works. And in one day, you could figure out how to do a layout and manipulate colors and fonts, and each one of those is like a little win. It's just like a little boost that keeps you going for the next thing. And eventually they get harder and harder, and soon enough you're building fairly complex systems. I definitely struggle with imposter syndrome even to this day, and I've been in my career for 25 years. Sometimes it's just struggling to figure something out and then just starting to fall into the pit of thinking I just can't do it, and then I just drive myself forward, just kind of a work ethic approach. Persistence was a lot of it, and also not being afraid to ask others or to look for other inputs and resources. You can't do and solve everything by yourself. Knowing when you're stuck and maybe why you're stuck, and thinking of creative ways to get unstuck, that really helps with imposter syndrome. And that's true today. The nature of my work isn't as technical as before. When I run up against something I haven't dealt with before, I don't feel like I'm the most informed person in the room. I listen or ask questions. I try to find other resources to become more informed.
This is just a waste. I mean, it's not important. Just to check your knowledge, so it will be okay if we skip that. Don't worry.
Okay, we've sure covered a lot this week. Let's quickly recap what you've learned. We've explored how this program works, the definition of UX design, why UX design is important for consumers and businesses, the different roles within the field of UX, what makes a user experience good or poor, an entry-level UX designer's job responsibilities, how a UX designer works with cross-functional teams, differences in UX design jobs depending on company size and industry, and how to pursue a career in UX design. We've got a lot more exciting topics to come. As you continue through the program, think about the type of job you might be interested in pursuing when you're done. Every new thing you learn here takes you closer to your first role in UX design and closer to landing your dream job. Up next, we'll explore common concepts, tools, and frameworks that UX designers need to know to excel in their careers. Keep up the great work.
Kindness is a really important. It's just a define of the word that we already learned. You guys can read if you guys want, just pause the video. So after this modular 1, I kinda recommend you guys to become a freelancer with T-Shape US design. That is the best. Or you guys can just do like what you want, but I really recommend freelancer. There's a wish for you guys to um do it again, to check your knowledge. This just do it by yourself, and then I will show the answer. Sorry. So okay, so this is the answer. Oh, I was wrong on this one. Okay, and that's it. This the end of the episode 4. See you guys later.